Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tenacity Project. Today we're probably going to start getting into a groove of actually the way that we want to be doing this channel, and because it's not just me, it's my bro Tony as well. We work on a couple of projects together, including this one, and so actually most of the stuff we do we're just doing together anyway, so we just thought it was fitting to really jump into the way that we like to do things, and that's just more of a chat style. Doing that whole talking head thing with YouTube is kind of weird for us, so we're gonna adapt a new style, and that's what we believe that this is our sort of thing, just talking about stuff. So thanks for jumping on the videos, brother. I know that being on video is like a newer thing for you.
Yeah. I like to stay behind the camera, to say the least. Yeah. I'm awkward in front of it, but we'll make it work, man.
Yeah, the awkward
We're here now.
is part of the dream, right?
We'll figure it out.
It's part of that makes it legit.
Yeah, exactly.
So last time we hung out, we're actually on Rant, and geez, what's the name of brother?
Rant and yarn.
Rant and yarn.
As cheesy as it sounds,
Yes.
it works.
I just always tell myself it's such a good pub name.
Yeah.
So Rant and Yarn is another channel that we chat on, and that's about in the creative space. Here on the Tenacity Project, we talk about personal development, and it's kind of like our fields, isn't it? Like you're more in the creative side, and I'm more over here. So without yapping on too much, today wanted to get into what holds people back. You know, there is people in life, they want to get ahead or make ground or try new things or break into new careers or start businesses, get fitter, get a better relationship, whatever it is that anyone tries to do, there's generally something that really just stops them. And most people, that's where they get stuck, but they don't even realize that they're getting stuck. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about what it is that holds people back in life in general, really.
Yeah. Because overthinking a bit, eh?
Yeah, man, like overthinking definitely comes into it. And the one main thing that a lot of people don't realize that actually plays a big part is self-talk.
Yeah.
Like you are the one that you talk to the most.
Yeah.
Full stop. You talk to yourself while you're eating, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're having sex by yourself or with another person. Whatever you're doing.
Word.
You're talking to yourself,
Yeah.
and at some level you're doing it right now. Like if someone's watching this, you're probably talking, and the fact that I'm saying it now, you can actually start to hear it. You're like, whoa, hang on, there's a bit of something going on there. And that thing, because we're always doing it, that starts to help build on a narrative. Now, a narrative is like a story that we tell ourselves, and because we continually tell it, we believe that it's true, especially because we said it.
Yeah.
And so what about, I don't know, is there anything that in your life that you feel like you have always wanted to do but never have quite been able to?
Oh, heaps, man.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, the biggest thing for me is doing this, like going out on my own and doing my own thing. I've been thinking about it for a good 3-4 years, but I was like, fuck. It gets to a point where I'm like, if you just keep thinking about thinking, you're never going to get anywhere, right? So I was just like, yeah, maybe I'll just quit my job and just throw everything at it and see how we go. I mean, it's not like something that it'll blossom overnight. It requires a lot of sleepless nights and not eating very well, sleeping very well. But hey, man, everything comes with a price, and if that's the price you have to pay to make something that you really want to do for yourself, then by all means. But yeah, I guess that was the main thing for me. It took me a while, but I just keep telling myself to stop overthinking.
And just thinking about that part, like the overthinking part, that's a good clue as to what might hold someone back. And that is that if I said the reason that your life was the way it was or is because that's what you're willing.
Yeah.
You're willing for it to be that way.
Yeah.
Now, say for example, someone wants to, I don't know, they want to get fitter or earn more money, but their current level of fitness or income is what they're willing to put up with.
Yeah.
Now, it means that they might think that they're willing to go and get more or become fitter, but actually where they are, especially if they've been there for a while, that's all they're willing to do.
Yeah.
and that bit hurts, right?
Yeah.
And
It sucks.
and that what you need to do in that moment is that when I say that to someone, and I say, where you're at right now, if you're unhappy with it, unfortunately though, even though you're unhappy with it, it's what you're willing to put up with.
Yeah.
So you're the reason that you're stuck here. And then the first instinct they have, right, there's a bit of self-talk that will go inside their head and will say, but, and then it will want to answer that question with a reason, right? Or something to justify what that is, right? Now that's the bit that really gets to the crux of what I want to talk about today, is that right there, that instinctual but want to explain, that's the thing that stops people. Okay, so that's the bit that says, the reason I'm here is this. And that's the same but that they will put out every time something hard comes their way to get them closer. I can't do that because of this. Well, the reason I can never do that is because of this. Or my childhood was like this. Or whatever it is. And that is someone then, that they are fighting to stay where they are. Right in that moment. They're literally saying, this is why I need to stay like I am. They're defending their own situation. So that's the bit that I think is quite exciting, as annoying as it is, because the moment you realize you're defending something you don't actually want, that's the first clue to say, okay, well, that's where I need to start.
Funny you say that, because it's kind of like the saying, right? Everything before the but is bullshit. It's things that come after the but that usually that's the truth, or the stuff that matters.
Yeah, in this case, something to like focus on, right? Because that bit that you say, but, and everything that follows that from that moment is where you say, okay, well, I need to pay attention to this because this is the reason I'm not getting fitter or earning more money or have the relationship I want. It's because of that moment you say, but I, and you raise to defend your shit situation, your mediocre, whatever it is, the place you hate, you defend it with everything you have. First, that's the first key to say, okay, well, that's why I'm stuck. I'm defending my position. So your willingness to move forward, or your willingness to stay where you are, or you're willing not to stay where you are or move forward, those are tied to that. So that's like the first key. Then if you think about has something ever gone wrong and then you've thought, I knew it would go like that. Have you got any situations on that?
It's like you can kind of see how you can kind of see where it's going before you even got to the end of that, but it was like, I guess there was still some hope that it'll have a different result. Do you know what I mean?
But you feel convinced that it's going to go that way anyway?
Like it was certain that it was going to go that way. But it's like, it's kind of like jumping on the skateboard for the first time, man. I mean, I don't skate, I suck at it. But I knew, like, when I put my foot on the skateboard, I was like, this can go either two ways, and both of them sucks. It's either going to be the skateboard's going to shoot forward and me landing on my ass, or I'm going to shoot forward and having the skateboard come back. So, I mean, I knew both the options will suck, but I did it anyway. I guess that's the easiest explanation to put that in perspective, but
But there was always a third option, right? And that was that you were going to get on and it was probably going to, it wouldn't have felt stable, but you were going to still stay on. But that wasn't probably, you might have been in a mindset of, I'm learning anyway. If anything happens, I'm going to learn from it. But there will be people that will jump on, they'll fall off, and they'll go,
that's it.
I knew that was going to happen. This is not for me. And so they feel validated in their belief that they knew that was going to happen. And that happens in loads of stuff where people will try something or do something and it'll go terribly wrong or really badly, or it's embarrassing. They're feeling the ping of shame, and they just want to get out of that so fast. They go, see, I knew it. And then
told you.
And because they knew it, they feel like that's their small win over this really shit situation, and so then they get out. They don't do that anymore. They move away from it, or they avoid the people that thing happened with, or whatever it was. But that bit, understanding that's when you feel validated for something going wrong, it's another clue. It's just like the bit where you defend your situation. That bit where you feel validated, where that something went wrong, especially when it goes in the direction that is opposite to what your goal or ideal is. That's the clue. So there's another clue we to say, okay, well, this is where I'm actually programming myself. We want to say failure in the situation, but it's actually success, because you're saying this will happen, and then it happened. Now you validated it so that you could remove some of that feeling of shame or disappointment.
Yeah.
But actually what happened is you programmed yourself for that to happen, and it happened. So you actually, your outcome was right. You know, you were successful in what you believed was going to happen.
Yeah.
So imagine if you then said every time, we use a skateboard example, I'm gonna have a try and get on the skateboard, but maybe you take a different approach. It isn't about I'm gonna fall off. It's like you know that this is gonna happen, but you stop making that like an outcome to happen. You're like, you know, within a day or two or however long, I'm gonna be able to stand on the skateboard without falling off. That's what I want to try and get to. And slowly but surely, every now and then you stand on it and nothing happens for a few seconds, and then a few seconds more and a few seconds more. And now what you're doing is you're validating something that's your new program for success, right?
Yeah.
And it could be to do with a new job or something at the gym. You know, you maybe want to increase your weights. That's what I love about weight training, is that you can do something and it increases little by little.
Yeah.
And that tiny bit by tiny bit is so satisfying. Even if it's half a kilo on a big deadlift, you're like, awesome. It's progress. Yeah. And I think that is like a thing, whereas you still see some people at the gym and they won't PB that session and they'll be disappointed. Now I get being disappointed, but they're validating something when they get really, really pissed off. Yeah. I think people that they might not hit it and they go, okay, well, obviously today's not the day. I'll try again next week. Yeah. When I'm healed up, I'll make sure I have a better breakfast or get a better sleep. And they start thinking about problem solving rather than saying, this went wrong. And because they take that position saying, you know, this went wrong, I was right. And so they validate their position, and then they feel justified in feeling shit about it. Yeah. And then downward spiral happens, right? Yeah. So validating your position, right? Defending your position, validating it, those are good clues. Yeah. So using those as a guide. So way to combat this is like self-awareness. Yeah. It's just to understand it's happening. And really like get the feel for it. So like there must be some situations, like we do a bit of weight training together. Yeah. Man, I'm getting warm in here. Ooh. And this light. I've already got a shiny head, and this is just making it more shiny.
Shiny.
I'm so shiny. And you build self-awareness. So if is there any situations, and like I said, we train together quite a bit, and lately we've been doing some Olympic lifting. Yeah. How have you found the change of just trying it to, we've been breaking it down piece by piece, because I did some Olympic lifting in the past, and so I've been helping with that little transition. Yeah. How have you found the change in your awareness about what you're doing? Like we recorded a video of you doing a lift, and then you said that you got obsessed with it. You were like watching it. Tell me about that. Like what happened in that?
Yeah, because like obviously we've done a lot of like big lifts. Well, not big in weights, but I mean like your squats, your deadlifts, what you call it, your sumo deadlifts and all that stuff. So I feel like we have a really good base to work from in terms of that. But like doing the cleans and stuff, I was obsessed with, because I mean I'm always keen to learn new things, man. And if I find something really interesting and it's really beneficial for me, like I really want to be good at that thing. It's kind of like, you know, the photography and the video side of things that I'm doing now. Like I mean, I didn't study that. I did some of it when I was doing my graphic design degree, but I got so interested into seeing what I can do with it, how I can do it differently, and what I can learn from it. So when we did that clean, because there are so many steps within one movement to get right, I was like, I'll see if I'm getting this right. So in my head, like, I mean, I overthink it a bit. Like, it's like, go to my knees, my grip, you know, my hip, the swing, and then my elbows was the main thing. It's just to get that quick.
Yeah, flick them under.
Yeah. So all of those things, man, and you try to cram them into what 10-15 seconds of the whole movement. It's a lot to think about. Yeah. But when you do hit it, there's that sense of accomplishment. It's like, fuck, that feels good.
Yeah, and it feels nice when it happens right? Yeah.
But then you go back and see where the improvements, where it needs improvement. Because I mean, even though it feels right, it's the first time you've actually done that. So you always got to have to assess and see where you can improve. Like, okay, that I could have, dropped a bit lower, things like that. My elbows could. I mean, I was still rolling the bar anyway. Like I could work on that a little bit more. But it's that thing like you do something and then you reassess and see where the improvements are, rather than just doing it, looking at it, looks good, and then just moving on from it. But I mean, there's always room for something to improve on from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, one thing is to do something, but then assess where you can improve and what needs work.
And I think that's the difference between like a fixed and a growth mindset too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone that believes that things are fixed and don't change versus someone who thinks that I can change, get better, and whatever. Because you could quite easily see though, someone that like first gets into it, they injure themselves and they go, "This is not for me."
Yeah.
They don't even realize how wrong they've done something or tried to. Yeah. But sometimes you need to have a few little setbacks like that in order to realize you need to ask for help or you need to try something different.
Yeah.
And like in your situation, like you did it a couple of weeks back and you said like your wrists really hurt. Yeah. And then after we worked on a little bit of technique through shoulders and elbows, then you started noticing actually your wrists don't have to be involved a hell of a lot. Yeah. And so
that was the problem.
Yeah, so they were doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
But you didn't know that until we sort of broke it down and pointed it out. And that was the difference between you going, I knew I couldn't do this, to how can I make this better? And you changed your awareness. And now, like you said, you got obsessed with it. You were watching every little bit. You were getting really observant. Yeah. But it was all for the sake of improvement. Yeah. So now you're gearing up your mind to succeed because you want to validate all the things about improvement, not about all the things you think could go wrong. And so that comes back to that self-talk thing, right? Because and you really do have control over how positive or negative it is. Like you're a positive guy to start with anyway, so that really helps. And
am I?
Well, I think you are. Everyone is like, I notice whenever you're around people, especially like new people, they just sort of connect with you really easy. You're a pretty cruisy, positive, friendly guy. And you're ridiculously handsome as well, so that helps.
Man.
And then
no homo.
And so, but all those things like working together, right? You can know though when you meet someone who's quite pessimistic and a little bit negative, and they're not. It doesn't feel right when you're trying to connect with them. It feels like there's a barrier, right? Yeah. And you try a little bit, and then you realize that it's probably not going to. Yeah. It will either take a long time, or maybe
I'll be like, fuck this.
Or you just I mean, I was trying to say it in a nice way, but you're really like, well, this is just like a waste of my time and or energy, and you're just like, this I'll go place it somewhere with someone who wants to catch up or chat or whatever. Yeah. And so you're pulling it back to like just that self-talk, that narrative, that continual story you tell yourself, really coming up to realizing where are you defending your shit situation that you actually want to change? Yeah. Where do you feel validated for negative possibilities? Yeah. And then using those as a moment to guide your self-awareness. Yeah. And then using a goal or an ideal to really shape that lens to say, well, is this actually helpful? Yeah. How I'm looking at this right now? Yeah. And if the answer is no, then just discard it and adopt something new. Yeah.
And of course, this is sort of like you learn as you grow, sort of thing, because we react to any situation, especially things that go wrong, like with our emotions and stuff. I mean, it's human nature, right? But then that's fine. But then I think you should always sort of reassess that again after the fact and see what you could have done to make that situation a learning situation, rather than just fuck, this is going wrong and my life is in shambles right now. But there should always be another option, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's always got to be a way, man. It's just finding that way. You may not find it straight away, but there's got to be a way to improve. And I guess the life we live in now, you should always think of doing that, finding ways to improve on a shit situation. I mean, eating shit sandwiches every day sounds like a very bad idea. But I guess if you look at the shit sandwich and see what that shit sandwich is teaching you about, you know, your situation and stuff, then
Right.
it's not a waste of time.
Yeah, and
You know
that's
what I
I mean, we've talked about this before, like the suffering.
Yeah.
Like, not suffering as in like suffering that's forced upon you, like people that live in parts of the world that have really bad situations because, you know, their situation is forced upon them, but a voluntary suffering. So going to the gym, for example, is a really good example. It hurts to do stuff at the gym, right? It's painful, not as in like painful you've broken something, but painful as like you're sore from it.
Yeah.
But that pain feels good if it's in the service of something greater.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's improvement, strength, fitness, health. So because it's in the service of that, it feels good.
Yeah.
So that suffering, you can apply to other things. So if you wanted to improve your career and you had to choose the suffering of a job at that point that wasn't 100% you, but you knew that it was leading to something, you could say, actually, I'm going to give this my all, even though I hate this part of it, because it leads to something greater.
Yeah.
And that comes back to deciding on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Is it a positive way? Because a lot of people could have a job that they hate, could be in a career they want, but just that one thing is just too much.
Yeah.
And that's where they're like, this thing is too much for me. My life is shit, therefore it is shit. And they've decided that, right?
Yeah,
So it's that same thing.
Exactly, because I guess some people might find it hard to, because they might have like very ambitious goals and stuff, and they keep thinking, "Fuck, that's way, you know, too ambitious. Like I don't know how I'm gonna get there." But I think I saw something, might be on the Instagram but a guy was talking about not looking at the goal as a whole, but just looking at your next step, like. Because these next steps is just building up to that goal. So just have the goal, but stop looking at it as a whole, because it discourages you from actually making steps towards that.
Yeah, like make the steps, but know it's in service of something you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Just use that motivation to push you through the stuff and realize that the suffering is for a purpose that is beneficial for you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's, I think we need to do another chat on like suffering.
Yeah.
Because it's such a real fascinating kind of subject.
Yeah. When you say suffering, I think Jesus.
Well, I mean, same.
With the suffering, it's like, oh, gearing up.
It's a weird word to use because it's got such a negative connotation. Because suffering, people think. But I feel like, I mean, I'm not really up with the story of Jesus other than like what I know through popular belief and a little bit of church when I was a kid. But in that situation, it was thrust upon him, but he voluntarily went with it. Yeah. You know, but lots of situations
for a greater.
Yeah, for him it was a greater good sort of stuff. This is not a religious channel or anything, but like no. But there are some good stories. Yeah. And in lots of places, not just like Bible stuff, but I mean, I was telling you this morning, I'm listening to Will Smith's book at the moment. Yeah. Such a good book, man. Like, and he does talk on some of that stuff. Like, he did go through some hard stuff when he was a kid, and then it's part of the book where he's coming up into his late teens and he's on his road to becoming a rapper, hip hop artist, and hanging out with Jazzy Jeff, and man, so such a cool story. Yeah. And that sort of stuff, you can see the parts that he pushed through because it makes it easy to, I think, go through suffering when you're doing something that you really want to. Yeah, exactly. He loved it, but there were hard bits, really hard bits. Yeah. But he still went through it because, it was like love, you know, a love for that. Yeah. And the pain that came with it was its own reward. Yeah. And so that suffering he went through was on purpose, with purpose. Yeah. So I mean, we definitely should do a different video about that sort of stuff.
Just to touch on the point, because you mentioned reward and suffering. I guess in the world right now, people think of reward as money. If it's not making money, I'm not going to waste my time because this is what I want to do is to be able to make money. But I'm like, I guess money will be the long term goal, but it's just doing something that you enjoy doing. If you make money, that's a bonus. But I guess some people, because I mean, I worried about that before I even left my job. It's like, how am I going to fucking pay the bills? if I don't make any money from the first year of doing this. But then, you know, you just have to go with the flow, and you become very creatively resourceful when you're really desperate and you're getting boxed in. So you got to be like thinking, okay, well, I can do this just to generate some income while I'm working on that. Not a full-time job, but it's just something to keep me afloat. But you know, you figure it out as you go. It's just a matter of doing.
Yeah, and it depends on, I think, how much you really want that thing.
Yeah, that's
It all
the
comes
suffering
into it.
part of it.
Yeah, that's the suffering through it so that you can have it.
Mm.
I think that in the more suffering you go through and the harder it is,
The sweeter it tastes.
yeah,
when
the
you
more
actually make
rewarding it is at the other
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
because doing hard shit on purpose is what makes you tougher, right?
Yeah.
Mentally
Resilient.
tough, more resilient.
Resilience is the sexy word.
Yeah, resilience is very
Yeah.
like topical right now, right?
Powered by Luciano.
Yeah, that. Thanks Luciano for topping us up today.
They're not an actual sponsor. We just love the coffee, and it's just like
This is on the road,
5
man.
minutes down the road.
So Luciano, if you're watching this when we at you on Instagram, we would love some free coffees, bro.
Oatmeal flat white.
Oatmeal flat whites. That's all good. Thanks,
That
man.
was good.
So I think we probably could wrap it up right there.
Yeah.
So just like a quick recap,
Yeah.
the self-talk that you have going on all the time leads into a narrative or story that is continually flowing in your mind. And that is what helps dictate where you're at in life. And then when you try to change something or someone suggests change, even if you want it, notice that the blocks that you just throw up, they're the buts.
Yeah.
The bit you want to defend. You want to defend your current life even though you want it different.
Yeah.
Where you notice yourself defending it, that's the bit where you need to go, actually, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
And use those moments to guide change in your life, to use it as and put the questions through a lens of your goal or your ideal life, and say, you know, is this current belief or thing that I'm telling myself, is it actually helpful? And if it's not, then stop. Just cut that shit out.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done, but work on cutting that shit out and work on shifting your focus towards what am I willing to put up with to get that, not what am I willing to stay at in order to just feel like oh, I think we've lost the other camera.
The camera.
That's all good. It's probably just got hot because I'm
Yeah.
okay, so we've got one left.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Oh, that's
shouting
all
out to you because that's the only mic working right now, I think. We will catch you in the next video. We might talk about suffering maybe in the next one or two, who knows. But thanks very much for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe. Or don't. I don't
Peace.
care. Whatever.